Okay, so let's get into how to scale, how to analyze your data, and how to explode your business. So optimization really is the process of making the best and most efficient use of your resources. So what we're talking about here is a lot of people, have successful Shopify stores, have successful Amazon stores, but they don't necessarily know exactly why that is. And so, a lot of the choices that we're going to be making are going to be, or all of the choices that we're going to be making are going to be derived from data. It's very easy to get emotional and say, I like that product better, or, I think that this is doing better, but not actually following up and looking at the data. So never allow yourself to do that. If you ever catch yourself, making subjective choices that are just based on your emotions, you really need to, be able to audit yourself and be able to, not do that, because it's going to eventually catch you and it's going to make your business worse. And so, you have to kind of ask yourself, do you actually know where your sales are coming from? Are they coming from mobile? Are they coming from desktop? Are they coming from the United States? Are they coming from Canada? Are they coming from Australia? And if they're coming from Australia or the UK, what's your cost per click? Are you spending more to get a customer from Canada versus the UK, or are you spending more in the US? What is your total profit coming out of these countries based on the percentage of your time that you're actually allocating into setting up these campaigns to ship to these countries? Do you know why a product is selling, right? Is it coming from your Instagram influencer campaigns? Is it coming from your Facebook ads? Is it coming from a YouTube tutorial that you did, or like the top 10 best golf products for 2018, right? How do you figure out where your actual sales are coming from? Do you really know, or are you just guessing? So if we're guessing, guys, we really need to start focusing on not guessing. We need to understand, how to track these things, little methods and little tricks that I use to kind of figure out exactly where things are coming from. And, it starts with Google Analytics. It starts with Facebook advertising. And it starts with setting up your systems and processes in place to be able to track this, right? So putting your pixel on all of your pages, which Shopify does for you. Putting your Google Analytics tag on all of your pages and enabling the e-commerce settings, which Shopify does for you, and we taught you exactly how. So once you have these things in place, guys, you're going to be farther ahead than most people. 95% of people don't set this stuff up right, and 99% of people don't understand how to interpret the data. So we are going to start with Google Analytics. So what we see with Google Analytics is a lot of things. We can see active users, and I'm going to use my official Kevin David site just because I have a lot more data to kind of manipulate and play with to be able to show you. But like always, guys, it's the ideas and the processes that we're learning. We're not trying to memorize exactly what I'm doing, because the whole point of a course, or any type of college or high school or whatever, is not to memorize things. It's to really figure out and understand for yourself how to do things and how to figure out how to do things. The people who can Google the best are literally the millionaires. I promise you that. Like, the people who have adjusted their mindset and reframed their mindset to be able to figure this stuff out for themselves rather than relying on other people to teach them. There's two types of people in the world, and I'm getting a little preachy right now. I swear I'm going to get into it in a second. But there's two types of people in the world. There's a person that doesn't know how to do something, right? I've never looked at Google Analytics. I don't know how to do it. And there's somebody that says, I haven't figured out Google Analytics yet. Right? And that is such a big distinction. So I'm going to show you, as much as I can, guys, but really you have to figure it out for yourself, because I can't show you everything. I'm trying extremely hard, but people who can figure it out for themselves are the people who succeed. And so let's take a look at some of this stuff. So Google has something called intelligence. So if we click this button, it opens up this little sidebar here, and it says YouTube is performing better than other referral traffic. So 14.59% of your site traffic is from the referral channel. Within referral, YouTube is 15.48% of sessions and performs better on some key metrics like bounce rate, right? Our bounce rate is much lower than other referral traffic, and our average session duration is almost double. And so what does this mean? So this means that people who view at least I think it's 10 seconds of content. Let's see. The percentage of visitors who particular website who navigate away from the site after viewing only one page. Okay, yeah. So this means that only 40% of people leave the site after viewing one page, and with other referral traffic, that's 76%. Average session duration means how much time they're spending on your site. So people from YouTube are reading much more about my testimonials. They're reading much more about the content that I'm have on my sales page and my orders page and things like that. But from other referral traffic, like such as Facebook or YouTube, or Instagram, they're reading significantly less, almost double, which means that, if I was going to make a scaling decision of how to use my time, which is what this all comes down to, I would obviously make a decision to spend much more time on YouTube, because YouTube is double. It's twice as good in average session duration, and it's twice as good as far as bounce rate. And so, those are some very easy wins, right? And so intelligence just does a lot of the work for you. So let's take a look at some other stuff. So we see traffic channel. And I'm just on the Google Analytics homepage, guys. This is just the homepage here. I just signed into my Google Analytics, and I'm viewing my Kevin David page, just so you guys know. So we can see 45,000 users in the last 7 days, 50,000 sessions, an 86% bounce rate, because we're driving paid traffic. If you have a bounce rate of 50% plus or minus, like 30%, bounce rate, don't focus on too much. This is because we were testing out Snapchat, and we were getting a ton of traffic, but obviously people were bouncing, but we were getting email addresses, and so we can actually initiate a downstream sequence. And so our bounce rate and our session rate, our session duration, is not necessarily reflective of true interest. And so let's look at the next thing. So traffic channel. So we see that we had 18,000 people visit on November 1st. It's come down a lot because we've been cutting down on some advertising, scaling things back a little bit. So this is really interesting. So I should honestly be looking at this more. So we see 45.4% of our sessions are coming from the United States. But this is actually very interesting to me. 28.2% of our sessions for this in the last 7 days, and we can change this. We can do the last month if we want. We see 30% of our sessions are coming from the UK. That's crazy. And we're advertising 90% of our ad dollars in the US. So this is a huge change as far as scaling that I would immediately make. And Canada, we're not showing nearly enough love to as well. So 7.4% of our traffic is coming from Canada. So maybe we could make a YouTube video about how to do product research in the UK. That seems like a really good idea that I'm literally going to do. I promise you. And so in the context of our Shopify store, if we saw similar numbers, then obviously we would want to further scale and explore and start testing new demographics and new ad campaigns from the UK or in the UK market. Because most of the scaling decisions, guys, we can analyze data all day, but what it comes down to in the end is how to focus your time and ad spend. That's what scaling is all about. It's about it's about focusing on your time, right? So we're gonna enact customer service, and we're gonna hire virtual assistants, and we're gonna do that so we can spend more of our time on the more important things. So we're gonna outsource customer service. We're gonna outsource, dealing with any of the actual fulfillment using Oberlo, communicating with the suppliers, sending them the spreadsheets back and forth, comparing, how much we owe them with how much that they're telling us we owe them, and you can teach your virtual assistants how to do this once, and then you can pay them, $3 to $4 per hour in the Philippines, and which is, a totally fair wage from that country, and you can save yourself so much time by doing this. So that's kind of like the first lesson on scaling that I wanted to talk about. Just really hammering down the data in your Google Analytics dashboard and starting to understand what it is actually meaning. Because what we're going to see here when this is Shopify is that we're going to see what our actual top visited pages are. So this literally means that 6 people right now somewhere in the world are on these 6 different sites. So somebody just bought the course, somebody is on a Shopify cheat sheet, somebody is in the membership page viewing some videos, and somebody is in the mini course. So in the context of Shopify, maybe we have 100 people who view our men's polos, and we have 2 people that view our women's polos. And so if we're advertising about 50% to both of those, then obviously we'd want to focus more time on the products that are getting the most views, getting the most cart views, and getting the most purchases, of course, right? And so I hope that helped, guys. That's a very basic intro into Google Analytics and how to interpret some of the data. So let's get to the next one.